Igbo mụrụ nze m ọzọ, anyị ekene unu ọzọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi tata. Anyị sị unu ụtụtụ ọma, efifie ọma, mgbede ọma, site na ngara ebe isi wee na-esoyere anyị n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị nke taa na Igbo midia, bụ ebe anyị si wee na-ewetara unu ya bụ ife gbara ọkpụrụkpụ na-eme na ana Igbo dị iche iche, obodo dị iche iche na ana Igbo na obodo nke anyị nọ n'ime ya. Dịka o si dị, ọbụna nke a bụ mgbọsị izizi gị ị na-esonyere anyị n'iru akwụkwọ na Igbo midia, ekabalụ ka imetụ aka n'ebe a na-acha red and subscribe, share ekwe ya, gbakwa ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ ka fasịsọ anyị na-esonyekwara anyị n'ihe anyị na-eme dị iche iche na Igbo midia. Dịka o si dị, o nwee nnukwu ya wetara unu n'iru akwụkwọ gbasara maka ife na-eme n'obodo a. Anyị ga-achọkọ nke ya bụ ife unu ga-esia ya, unu adọrọpụrụ anyị kọmentị n'ife unu chere n'ụdị nke unu gbasara maka ya bụ ife niile ekwu n'iru akwụkwọ. Alright, over to you, sir.
In that place that is not designed for you. Okay, that is not even where we are going. We had our own very person, I will play that video here, where he said that we should stop doing what we are doing, that it's not a time when we come to social media to fight for freedom, that we should check all over the world. Where have you ever seen where people come to do freedom fight on social media? None. Some of you who are not very, who doesn't follow logics very well, didn't know what he was talking about. Last slave, he was mocking Mazin Nambekano. Now I will prove it so that you don't think I am trying to instigate hate against Nambekano for Kinata. If you watch that same video, he said there that the Onyendu family are frustrating all their effort. In that video, he even said, when they started, first thing is that one, he is a Muslim. He is a Muslim. He swore to in Qatar, where he's based. He is a Muslim converted, and he has always antagonized Mazin Nambekano. But it wasn't the very day Mazin Nambekano came online to say that there are three basic religions that we will follow as Biafrans. From that day, that was when the problem started. That is when he said Judaism, Onyendu said Judaism, Christianity and our traditional religion should be our focal practices of religion. Then that Islam does not fit us, that we will not tolerate it. Then since then, the problem started. Now in that same video, he said that you don't come to social media something. Have you ever seen that? For some of you who were clapping for him, you did not know that a world leader starts when you have a former state. You're not a world leader. You are a freedom fighter. It is very laughable that people who want to be the leaders of IPOB doesn't know their left from their right. The other day he was arguing, oh, how can you conduct a self-referendum? Oh, how can you have government in exile? He doesn't even understand any of these things. Government in exile started existing even from the days of Mao Zedong. Government in exile has been existing. Many countries that eventually become a country that you reckon with today, they got their independence through the pushings from exile. Their government in exile, it was the legal status that denies anybody to call you a terrorist, because a terrorist doesn't have a legal office. You are recognized, you are registered, you operate with human face, you follow international regulations and standards of practices. You don't do acts that can be associated with terrorism. Rather, where necessary, you defend your land and your people, and whatever tool available to defend. That is why the people who are telling you fight Simon Ekpa, fight Simon Ekpa. If you heard that same video, what Mazin Nambekano did was, he said that he tried to paint Mazin Nambekano down, because that is why everybody is getting clarity that he is in the lead of the conspiracy against Nambekano. Yes, He seems to be the game, maybe the third person in the game plan, if not the second. He said there that only family, especially Kanonta and Fine Boy, that they are going around collecting money from politicians. He did not stop there. He said that the people we are doing what thing, I know China and Biafra with them, we don't know they are doing, that one senator, one commissioner, one this told him that in fact he don't want to mention, he don't want to expose, because if he exposed, but he was doing exposition in his own way of exposition, he don't want to expose. He already told you that Kanonta, I am not even coming to defend Kanonta, but when you will not get where he was going, he said that even they are making they are part of the whole thing. Say go and listen to the video. He said this is just what he did. He said that is Nnamdi Kanu himself and they are all into something cooking fishy arrangements. You don't understand what that means? You don't understand? He is telling you that Nnamdi Kanu is part of the game to kidnap himself when this man is there suffering for all of us. Another thing he came up with was he tried to paint a very wrong image of our alliances. He said, oh, and another thing, yes, let me go there before going to now. He said Nnamdi Kanu himself, our leader, that Nnamdi Kanu lied to Biafrans. He has been lying to Biafrans on the internet, on the social media, that he said he was welcomed in Israel. He said he went to Israel, he was welcomed in Israel. Whereas that they have the correct information that Onyendu was not welcomed in Israel. That he sneaked into Israel and operated under hide in Israel. Now I want to ask you, did you not follow Onyendu? Did you not follow Onyendu's public appearances in Israel? He was in national television. He was in different discussions with some politicians in Israel. He made broadcasts that signals flew away from Israel. Israel, the most guided, I think, Remedios pointed this out. The most secure place in the world, the most technologically advanced country in the world, that Nnamdi Kanu, is Nnamdi Kanu a scientist, can dislodge Israel signal, can dislodge Israel security, cyber security, and make broadcasts every now and then from Israel, and their signal did not intercept it. You know, when you have people whose brain are closed, even when they want to lie, they want to project their wrong narrative, they cannot do it masterfully because they don't know. And he who does not know cannot offer, because you can only offer what you know, what you have. When we try to lie that when they approach Israel, now this is another part of what we're going. Now blackmailing Israel. Do you know why he's blackmailing Israel? Because he saw when Simon Ekpa and the Prime Minister of Finland was, they had a meeting in Israel. He saw when there was a trip about 2 times, Simon Ekpa and the Prime Minister to Finland went to Israel. He knew there was a movement. That movement I will explain to you. That's why I said I will give you just a tip of the iceberg. That movement you saw, it was where their envy got serious. Because he now saw that something serious, Simon is taking something very positive step now. Before they had to take that trip to Israel, Nigeria already declared its stand. Nigerian government officially and the politicians of Nigeria of the northern extractions, they made a lot of unguided utterances against Israel in relations to Israeli-Hamas war conflict. Once that step was taken by Nigeria, we Biafrans, we rejoiced. We knew it was God design. Nigeria came out openly to condemn Israel. The same thing Nigeria did against Russia. Nigeria now came. And this is the same thing that any nation where people who are not prepared for leadership are in charge of leadership, you keep seeing them goofing and endangering the national status. The the international relations of that same country, between the countries. If you see, Russia had always played along with Nigeria, and Russia was even part of shooting at Biafrans. Now, when you see some kind of little movement between Burkina Faso and Simon Ekpa, the young leader, we play our card from here, we play our card from there. But let's not go there, you mustn't know everything yet. Now, you can see that the envy of Chinasa is that he saw that Simon is, after all, identifying with leaders of the world and the people who can do something. He said that Israel, our relations with Israel, in fact, that Martin Nnamdi cannot keep deceiving us. He did not use this word. He did not say keep deceiving us from this particular point now. He said that he don't know why we keep, holding on to Israel. Israel will never help us. Israel never helped us. And we are closing the opportunity for other countries to have come. Which countries is he talking about? That is what he's talking about. The opportunity for other countries, because that we have already declared that we will not allow their religion to be part of us. If you remember, when he came to claim, he now said that when they went to Israel, they approached Israel for what do you call it, cyber, when IPOB, he is claiming he's part of it, the team approached Israel for satellite, for our broadcast, that Israel denied us, Israeli company denied us. Now, was Chinasa part of IPOB when Nnamdi Kanu approached the Israeli company? Was he not on Radio Biafra when we already started using our the signal, the satellite, that Chinasa called to declare his membership around 2013? Was it not live on program when Onyendu was having a program? He called Onyendu, now trying to praise Onyendu like he as a politician. He was pouring encomiums on Onyendu, his effort, that he is so one. In fact, Onyendu has been an exceptional human being. He has done noble. He was. How suddenly this same Onyendu is the person he's trying to find way to falter his wisdom? Then was a white man, now no more. The more he keep trying to blackmail Onyendu, people keep knowing that he's a traitor. Now he said he was part of the team that went to Israel, the Israel company. You can see that it's only lies he knows how to do. How can we go with somebody like this? Of course, this man is a treacherous being. A lot of things he tried to do there. One, now he said that the religion we are adopting is that important. That is to say, when we are busy embracing Israel, the other people from the other part of the world will not come. They will not come to our aid. Have they ever come to our aid? If Israel never did help us and Israel will never. Now ask him, what these people who are uninformed, they keep coming to disgrace themselves because they have no information. Was it not Israel and Finland that was busy giving Biafrans first aid, clothing, food during the war? Was it not Israel that even supported us with manpower? Was it not Israel? That time, remember, Israel was having war. Israel was having conflict within their region. But they still had to find a way to come to our aid. In international politics, one will always identify with friends, and it is the most dangerous thing to play prostitutional relations, what we call prostitutional relations. You don't know, the person that is supposed to be your friend don't know whether you are even for him or for, you don't know if you are with him or not. Of course, no country will come out officially now to help you when you have not done anything strong. No country will come to help you, because where you are still living in, the Nigerian state you are still in, is a sovereign state, just like that same country that should come to help you. And in the international charters, in UN conventions, there is non-alignment, or sorry, there is non-interference, there's total recognition of your sovereignty. It is when you take a step to deny these people control over you, to declare before the world that the sovereignty of Nigeria is no more binding on you, that you are also now a sovereign power on your own. When you take a vote now, it will be defended. When you go to take the step, when you take the step, your step will be defended. That is what happens. That man, that delusioned man, he wants to teach people when he doesn't know. How can a sovereign state come to interfere in a sovereign state's territory? How can you come to interfere? It is after you have denied Nigeria rulership over you. You can declare before the world that you can lead yourself, you are already leading yourself, that you can provide security for yourself, you can defend yourself. Then they know you are man enough. You have declared it. Then you take a step. You take a step. The bold step, of course, which must attract casualties. Unfailingly, it must attract casualties. There must be victims of that step. Then that bold step will announce you. Then the next thing will be you now defending that step. It is where it is obvious to the world that that is why, for some of you who don't know, like China Samuru, uninformed people, that what happened in 1990 in between Ethiopia and Eritreans. In 1990, the Ethiopians were busy oppressing. Of course, their conflict, their move for separation lasted over 48 years or thereabout. But it got to the time when they got serious. They first of all said, no Eritrean person will partake in anything, any politics, any political activity of Ethiopia. That was when they became serious. Now the next thing is, they now begin to push for their referendum. Eventually, referendum was conducted. Ethiopia never recognized it. For some of you who doesn't know, some of you have asked me questions on my platform privately. You asked me, this referendum, what is joke? You people are joking. Why do you think, what made you think that Nigeria will allow you with this joke you call referendum? Of course, Nigeria will not recognize it if you don't know. No, they will not recognize it. That same way Ethiopia did not recognize the referendum outcome of Eritreans, Nigeria would definitely not accept it. But what will happen is that is why it's good to make friends with the can-dos. You will defend it. Nigeria will say no, you will say yes. That we don't care to know what your stake or what your position is. We have decided, and our decision is final. We have decided. Then there will be move to show superiority, and then there will be counter force. It is that point that the sovereign power will collapse. Once you now stand to draw that sword, the sovereignty of Nigeria expires before the international eye, the international community. Nigerian sovereignty now expired at that moment, because it is now a question of power tussle. Now those people who are your friends will now come in. And remember, whenever you have international relations, there are interests. There are interests. Just like what is playing out between the West and Russia. Western Europe and Eastern Europe, that's Russia here. What is playing out there is that the Western Europe have sucked Africa for too long. And Russia have always wanted to be in the limelight too, because they are second world power. These other people are doing everything to strip Russia of their chances of retaining that position of second world power, second in command. Russia is fighting to remain relevant. Now, Ukraine was used as a setup to destroy Russia. But Russia is a smart country. Now, what Russia did is Russia began to open their borders, open their doors for African states who are ready to wake up. Now, that's why you saw what happened in Mali in 2001, 2002. I think it was November, October, November. Now they run to these people, Mali run to them, say, please help us. France have to leave our border. Now France was played on. Before France could know what was happening, Russia already, the Wagner group was already everywhere around. Now, this trend continued. In just months ago, it happened. Now you can even see Ibrahim Torres every now and then. He is entering the Moscow. Is entering Moscow and coming out with something results. Now, if you see, you can see that some friends, the friends of Russia, are also identifying with terrorists, with Burkina Faso. Now, because you stood your ground, friends will come by force. Because in the international arena, international politics, there is always an ensuing interest. There is always an interest that will bring one country and the other together. The countries, like places like Russia, their own interest is that the Western Europe is feeding too fat on African soil. They are feeding too fat on Africa. It's not that they are really very productive, but they are feeding fat on Africa. So because they are feeding fat on Africa, that he need to go and play his card to scuttle their chances of continuous feeding on African people. That is why during the war, Russia had to cut off their pipeline from supplying West. That was why within 4 months of that war, some countries now had to go and mend their trade relations with Russia. Then some of them who cannot mend their relations because they know that there is Africa where they will always suck, they refuse to go and mend their trade relations with Russia. Now Russia said, now Russia had to go.
And by Dalo Lineno, only if Konisi, when I saw any and many rock one opasinketa, as a copasinketa mano no I think which by 0 and the Cosidi and the Kindle if Biafra Prime Minister Kuni Rockwa Zoduki Biabo Iabo Ibo Media Kaisiko when you tell Nukozia do Kemba Geniki when you basta Makaya Bifa Kabaroke drop for your comment, your own suggestion. Ni endani the Biafra Prime Minister Kuni Rockwa. Thank you so much and stay tuned at Igbo Media. Daro no munem kemesian.